Hi everyone, so in this video I'm going to open up this little submarine. The idea in these videos is to bring me along so I can do things, and maybe these videos will not even be published. They help me do stuff. So let's start with this. So as we can see, there's this kind of box. There's the box, we have the submarine, and we have the antenna. Okay, but let's check the submarine. Okay, so the submarine works like this. So as we can see, it has this little part which will go up and down depending on if we want the submarine to be up of the water or down of the water, and the idea is to understand how this little part works. This little part probably is a piston and compresses air or decompresses air to make the submarine go up or down. Other than that, we have two motors, one in the back here that will propel the submarine forward and backward. We can see that the prop is extremely small. Yeah, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, here we can see the prop is extremely small, and that's because it's a high RPM motor. And then we have another prop with two channels here, and depending on the direction the prop is spinning, the water will come out from one way and gets out by the other way, making it turn in one direction or the other. So we have in total of 3 motors. 2 motors, one for propulsion and one for steering, and then another motor that we'll check now to compress or decompress air, that will make the submarine lighter or less light. Actually not lighter, but it will make the submarine occupy more or less volume of water, making it float if it occupies more volume than its actual weight. So let's start opening this model, and then we'll start opening the submarine. So take into consideration that this submarine actually reached a very good depth, so I tested it in a lake in open water, so where the water is actually more than hundreds of meters deep, and I didn't lose it. And after dropping down to 5 meters, it automatically detected that it didn't receive any commands, so it decompressed the air and it went up. I also used it in a swimming pool, and I used it in an aquarium, and in all of these occasions the mechanism that makes the submarine go up and down is very reliable, the ballast system. So the idea is to understand how they managed to make this ballast system in a submarine that's extremely inexpensive. We're talking about 25 euros. It's Chinese made, and it's an extremely interesting submarine. And that we can see 2 contacts here that are used to detect if it's in water or not, and if it's in water or not it will turn on the light and it will turn on the submarine. Un pochino di più, ecco qua, quindi un po' di tac tac tac, possiamo vedere come è fatto. Quindi let's see the beautiful rubber seal that will avoid water to go inside or outside of the submarine, and it's extremely well made. Other than that, what can we see? We can see the motor side, which also has some rubber here, and the 2 brushed DC motors, which then have some silicone to avoid water to get inside here. You can see here silicone. We can see the tube of the cables for the brushed motors, that's also silicone, so that the 2 areas are separated. We can see in this side, we can see the 2 brushed DC motors. Other than that, we can see the antenna here, which is simply a copper plate. What else can we see? We can see that if I click, it still turns on and off the light, so it means that's in water or not. And what else? There's another brushed DC motor here that's connected to the driver part. The driver part is composed by a big capacitor, and this is probably due to the big peaks of current that can happen. And so when we turn on and off the motors, so we need to compensate that, and we have a big capacitor. And other than that, we have, no, this copper thing on the top is not the antenna, because the antenna is here. So this big, no, it is the antenna, okay. So this big copper base is the antenna. You can see a little call. Yeah, it's beautifully made, really. So what else can we do? We can go a bit deeper and explore into it. So what can we see here? Right now we can see how this works. So we can see a LED light, which is the one that's telling us if the submarine is on or off. Here we can see the antenna. And we can also, that's made some copper tape, and we can see this transparent assembly, which from my understanding is the part that will transmit the power from this little brush DC motor, which is not an electric brush DC. It's not a small, such a small electric brush DC motor, but it's quite big compared to, for example, helicopters. That has some reduction, okay, which then doesn't have any kind of safety. What we can do is removing this. Get no information from it, so the only thing is that we're transmitting power with this to that, with a little screw that will allow us to move it up and down. That's how it works. So there's a screw, 3 and 4, and we test it out again. So it still turns on, as you can see. Forward command works, backward command works, left and right command still works, and now the pump still works well. So we can see the mechanism brings up and down the pump. So let's zoom a bit, you can see a bit more clearly. Up, down, and you can see more clearly the mechanism here. Okay, so you can see what you can see here, if you look with extremely good attention, this is something very interesting. Okay. See? This is the mechanism that makes it go up and down. Goes up, doesn't know it when it goes down. It realizes it went down. So it has some other technique. Okay, now let's see something else. Let's try to open this. So to open this, we'll follow the similar technique that we followed before. Start getting it out. Until it's easy to get out with our hands, bare hands. Okay. So it's just a small protection that was painted, and what we can see here is what we actually came for. Okay, now we can do something interesting, which is pushing and seeing how it works inside. So inside it's very easy, just a tube with a O-ring. It's quite easy how it works. The tube of course has screws, little screws that will make it go up and down. Very interesting. Of course there's grease everywhere, and let's put it back inside. Okay, let's pick this up in, This and these are just weights. It doesn't have an end stop at the end. The end stop doesn't exist at the end. It's just about torque. So when it locks, it doesn't move. However, because it is glued at the end to the back. So still need more. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And you can get it out. So we can see two things. First thing is here, the contacts, which were actually glued